presenter will be
Luc Willemse. I don't have to introduce him, but he will talk about recent Orthoptera discoveries from Greece.
Yes, Greek Orthoptera. Greece is a country rich in species, and still the funny thing is new species are being discovered, which seems maybe a bit odd sometimes. I'm going to show you a number of slides with a lot of photographs taken in the field. This is the list of the people who I have to thank for all these very, very beautiful and nice images. I thought instead of finishing with this slide, I'll say first of all, thank you very much to all these people for the nice images, and a lot of them are found in the field guide for the Greek Orthoptera. I'm shortly going to tell you something about some of the factors behind the high number of species found in Greece. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about why, for some species or some instances, it may seem difficult to discover species at all. Then I have some latest additions to the Greek fauna for you, and I will end up with the latest species, or not one of the latest new additions, which is a Leptophius species. If you look at Greece, then obviously the northern part, the very, very northern part of Greece, still contains some elements of Central European fauna, which is exemplified by some of the species shown in this slide, like Mycostatus parapleurus, Schizograun, Dispar, Bibetissus oxcari, and Tetrix turci, which are all species which are found more to the north in the European flatlands, lowlands especially, not necessarily in the mountains. And again, there are also some species in the northern part of Greece which also are more boreal and more Central European in their distribution pattern. But in Greece, you only find them at higher altitudes, like Podisma pedestris, or Aciptra fusca, Psophis stridulus, or Stenobotrus stigmaticus. Then I show you a picture of, which already was mentioned earlier by Nefeli, about the fact that Greece, in some parts of Greece, there's a lot of geological history which has caused speciation in some of the parts of Greece, and Crete is maybe the top example of this, and maybe Euphylidoptera is the top genus where this is an example of. This slide shows 2, 4, 6, 8 species of Euphylidoptera found in Crete, Antikythera and Gavdos, but all in all, together with a more common species, this island with the two neighboring islands now, after the paper which is going to be published hopefully this year, will have 14 species of Euphylidoptera in total. And that's mainly because of the recent paleogeological history of Crete. Of course, Greece is a country with a lot of different habitats, which also are part of the reason why Greece also harbors so many species. It's quite obvious. It has nice rivers, streams. It has mountains all over the place. It has caves. A lot of caves, although my experience is they're very difficult to find. It has got maki, it has got frigana. It's a lot of different habitats which altogether harbor a lot of different species also. Then, of course, the altitude is an aspect. Some of the species found in Greece are limited to above the tree lines, like the Spanasiana and Oropodisma. Some of the species found in Greece you find everywhere, from the lowlands up to the high mountains, like Pseudochortypus and Chortypus. It was Bornholmi, but I should say Maritimus these days. And then there are some lowland species which you only find in the lowlands, like Tridactylus and Ochelidia. The other big factor behind the large numbers of species in Greece is, of course, also the fact that a high number of the endemics in Greece are found in species which have very poor, they have no dispersal capacity really, because they are short-winged. And this slide shows you that if you look at the the total number of endemics of Crete, this is just a number 149. It may be, I'm not sure, maybe it's slightly more, slightly less, but it's, let's say, 150 species are endemic in Greece. Most of them, by far, 140 are short-winged, and only a very few are long-winged, which is another reason behind, I think, the large number of species found in Greece. Then another, well, more or less in the same direction is the fact that if you look at four genera with the most of the species in Greece, they are all short-winged, and this slide shows you some of the where the species of these four genera occur. For Psilimon, a large number occurs on the mainland, about a third on islands, and some species found on islands and the mainland. For Dolichopoda, it's of course found in caves. It's a cave cricket, and it's found also in islands and in mainland, almost in the same number of species. Orthoptera, because of Crete, is mainly most of the species endemics are found in islands. And for Rhacocles, it's about the same number on, not the same, but let's say more species found on islands than in the mainland. This graph shows you through the time from 1813 up to now, how many species are known from Greece, and the line is still going up. It's not bending yet. So how can we explain that although we have so many species, they're still being discovered, more species are being discovered? I think one of the factors is that the habitats where the species which are being described, especially the ones which are being described in the most recent years, where they are found, that's the habitat. Of course, cave crickets a cave is a habitat where it's not easy to go in and not easy to find them. So that's obvious that if you go into a cave where nobody has ever collected a cave cricket, chances are there that you find a new species. But also Rhacocles, which is a completely different kind of habitat. This species, Rhacocles crypta, is found on a scree slopes, and even last year we found a new species of Rhacocles again on a scree slope on Mount Parnassus. Mount Parnassus is in fact one of the best visited mountains of Greece, but still we found a new species of Rhacocles last year. Not this one, but another one. Another surprise for me also was in 2015 or 14, the mail I got from Florin Hoeksman that he found some strange Homocestus along the coast. And this, as far as we know now, but I still have to look at it a bit more closely, but it's very close to Homocestus raimondi. But the fact that we had never found it before is that it's only there it's adult in May up to maybe mid-June, and then it's gone. So if you go to Greece in July, and you go and visit the beaches, the lovely beaches of Greece in July, you will never see the species. So it's too early for it. So you're too late for it. So the seasonality of some of the species may also be a reason why sometimes they go undiscovered. Then again, another example from Crete, but you can show the same image for Greece. Greece, although a lot is being published lately, there's still a lot of white spots in Greece. This is a picture of Crete with all the localities where we have found Orthoptera species. The blue ones are the ones which have been published so far, and the green dots are the ones which are going to be shown in the new publications, which is coming up soon, I hope. And they are the result of hand catching, but also of a lot of pitfall traps carried out by the museum in Heraklion over the period of 40 years. But still, you can see there are some areas in Crete which have not been covered yet, or at least where they haven't found Orthoptera yet. Then another reason why we still keep finding species is the fact that some of these species have very small ranges. One of them is, two examples here. Prionotropis is a species which has a very small distribution area in the northwest part of Greece. And then, of course, there's Hortipus lacustris, which also has a very small distribution area linked to wetlands in northwestern Greece. And then I think this is the last example of why it's difficult to find species. There are, especially, for instance, in the Pamphagids, the densities of the population is so low that even if you walk somewhere, you have to be very, very lucky to, even and the species is there, you still have to be lucky to find it. And this is the last, another factor why it's sometimes quite difficult to find species, and still it's possible to discover new ones in Greece. Some species are very cryptic. This is an example, of course, of an ant cricket, which obviously you can only find if you start turning rocks and look in ant nests, which is not everybody's favorite pastime. Natula averni, it's maybe easy to hear, but not easy to see. And then this is Stinommobius gracilis. I was very happy to see an image of a male. This is a female, but it's quite a species which is quite elusive, at least in my experience. So there's all species in Greece, and still, because of all kinds of reasons, some of them are still being found in recent years. In the left-hand side are 8 species which have been described after the publication of the field guide in 2018. Where there are except for the last Poecilimon, of course, was a known species, but the other ones are newly described species from caves. Then on the right-hand side, we have a mention of 2 new Orthoptera species which are going to be described this year. We have, awaiting publication, Platycladinae genus from the border mountain with Albania, which is this is a new species at least. Pseudonotus fibri hasn't been mentioned yet from Greece. We have a new Acoclase from the Parnassus, and we have a new Leptophius from Crete. And then, which is a little bit more tricky, but of course we also, in these days, we also have iNaturalist and observations. And on these websites, you also sometimes find images of grasshoppers from Greece. One of them, which is pretty obvious, is Sphingonotus obscuratus, which was photographed I think in the Peloponnesos or something, I don't know, but anyway, from Greece, quite distinctive. And then there are some other images from the western coast of Greece, which may be Platyplegius, and from Crete, I've seen a picture which could be Sphericus palmatorum. So there is still species are being discovered even up to now. And I'm just finishing off my presentation with this Leptophius. This left-hand image was already shown also by Nefeli this morning. We found it 2 years ago when we were looking for this Ipholidoptera genus in Western Crete. Jos and myself, we were looking for Ipholidoptera, and we found some small nymphs. So we brought them home, and we raised them to adults, and they are very typical, very strange and new species. This is some more of the details of the species. It's contrary to other species of Leptophius, the last tergite in the male is expanded backwards, a bit like Andrenimon, but not in such a degree, but a little bit like that. And the cerci is a little bit spirally turned downwards. We found it on 3 spots in western Crete. Then, of course, we started describing the species, and then we had to think about a name. So I thought it was nice to just look up all the names of the endemic Greek species and see what was the etymology of the name for these endemic Greek species. It turns out that 61 of them were named after a person, 59 after some geographic entity, which could be an island or a mountain or a village or a cave. And then some 30 of them were named after a character, which could be a shape or the color or the behavior or the wingling, something like that. So So now we had to come up with a name for this one. And of course, if we could call it Cretica or Cretensis, which is an old Venice, which makes completely sense. We could call it Spiralis. But then we thought, no, we're going to name it after a person. And the very reason why I give this presentation is not because it has a very high scientific content, but because we named it after Axel. It's, I did send the second proof to Zootaxa Tuesday, so it should be published anytime soon. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Anyway, it's because of everything you've done for ECOG, for Orthoptera, for conservation. We thought it's high time you deserve a name. And not only a species, I mean, a nice species also. And also, I show you we have made a certificate for him to make life even more difficult. So I'm going to hand you over a certificate.
Is it in one of these presents, maybe?
No. It's a certificate of this species.
Oh, thank you very much. I don't know what to say, but I would like to thank you for calling it Axeli and not Hochkirche. Because nobody can really pronounce the name Hochkirche. But Axeli is much better. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.